just making this quick video because I see a lot of people talking about a lot of the things that I'm about to talk about, and I figured as a person who has some of the answers, it might be good to have a reference point. So that's not going to be too long, but I just want to talk about kind of the 8th gen platform and my experiences with it, and if I think that it's worth buying in the current car market and car climate, and if so, why. So let's get into it, and yeah. Some of you guys might remember a meme that I that I posted on the forum back near Halloween that seemed to get a lot of traction. I'll be talking about a couple of those items today, and if they sound familiar, that might be why. So 8th gens all have this issue where these hinge support jambs in the door kind of just like blow out, and the notches don't really do much for you for keeping the door open. So unless the door is on a level surface and all the way open, then like if I put it here, yeah, I've gotten so used to it that like I kind of just get out of the car fast enough that it doesn't hit me getting out. But it's definitely annoying sometimes, especially when you're like parking on an uphill and the door is like constantly on you trying to get out of the car. It's really annoying. So, but it's a pretty easy fix, and honestly I've just been lazy, so definitely not a hang up if you're even remotely mechanically inclined. All right, here's another one that I see a ton of people don't have their weather trim in their windshields. So like in here you'll see like white clips on most people's cars, and that's just because Honda didn't do a great job, I guess, with the OEM clips. I'm gonna put up right here what I've done to fix that. There's a post on it that I made that you can search up, but basically it's just rubber like weather trim. I think it's made for boats, actually. I'm not sure, but it's gonna be kind of hard to see, but you can kind of see it. If you get up on it, it doesn't look great, but I had to trim it a little bit to fit in there. But it's been there for probably about a year now, and I haven't, noticed any issues with it. So, all right, everyone knows about the bumper problem. If you don't, basically the clips that hold the bumper in go bad. Mine's bad too, but for different reasons. So basically, I'm using an aftermarket bumper, and because of some fender damage and some other things, it doesn't line up. It's not that noticeable in photos, but it drives me nuts, and I'm just waiting until the car gets painted to fix it. So for now, it's on there. Yeah, I know it's horrendous. But yeah, basically the bumpers just don't stay on. I think probably almost every 8th gen I've seen in person either has a quick release on their bumper or has it falling off. And the few elite among us have replaced the OEM clip and have a factory fitting bumper. So if you're one of those few, good for you. These next few, again, aren't a surprise to anyone who owns one of these cars. But the e-brake handles break. I think they're in a bad place, and I think people's knee kind of like runs into them when you get in and out of the car. Or maybe they're just fragile, I don't know. But they always break, they always crack. Nice thing is they're kind of inexpensive to replace, so not the biggest deal when they break. The radio corner, if you get a new radio or replace your radio, always breaks. It always cracks when you take it out. And the headliners are also horrible. The adhesive that Honda used from factory, or it might be the foam, but either way, they give out and they fall and they look like shit. So that's on my list of to-dos. I really don't want to. It looks like a pain, but yeah, that's on the list. So everyone has talked about this to death, so I'm gonna be really brief. But basically the clutch master cylinder is really shitty by design. It has a baffle in it, which was supposed to make the car more drivable, but it ends up just kind of like fucking everything up. The clutch pedal brace, the welds on it also go bad, and if you have even a little bit heavier clutch, they'll tend to just snap, and your pedal bracket will start popping in and out. So when I first bought the car, that was like the first thing I did. I did a clutch, and when I did it, I did the CMC, the slave, the bracket from MDP for the clutch pedal that braces it. If you get one of these, I would just say do all 3 of those right away. They're not that expensive. They're not that, well, the CMC is a pain to get to. It's really far back in the engine bay. Since we were doing my clutch, we did it all at once, but it was definitely annoying. So, but I would just do it because it's going to cause problems regardless. Most people say that they'll start seeing it in third gear. It'll start grinding going in. So, yeah. All right, so a couple that are just kind of honorable mentions here. The VTC gear tends to go bad on a lot of cars. It'll start rattling at later mileage. It's a pretty simple maintenance item. It seems a lot of people have figured out shortcuts. So none of the cars have clear coat anymore. Honda used really shitty thin clear coat on all the 8th and 9th gen platforms. My car's wrapped, but it has fading clear coat. It's not as bad. I think the only spots that I really had were on the roof and the fenders and hood. But most people, you'll see it kind of like down the top of the door, and then the trunk and the roof all fade pretty quick. So everyone's TPMS light seems to come on. I haven't had that problem yet, but I've heard of a lot of people having that problem. Most of the K20s have low tension rings, so a lot of these cars burned oil like basically right away. I've noticed that mine burns a little, but I probably lose between like 3/4 and a quart between changes, so I just have to like watch it and stay topped off. The AC compressors seem to go bad. The alternators tend to go bad. The starters go bad. I mean, but these are all like maintenance items that most cars suffer from. I think out of those three, the starters tend to go bad more for K-Series, and I'm not sure why. And then like overall, just the aftermarket support for these cars, if you're coming from like golden era Hondas, which is what I was dealing with, like I was used to the abundance of aftermarket for like D series and B series, and it's not quite the same for these cars. I mean, there's a lot of support for the K series motor, but in terms of like chassis mods, it's a lot narrower. So just, I guess, being prepared for that and knowing that you're not going to have quite as many options as you would for B and D series. Overall, would I say the 8th gen is a good car to buy? I'm gonna kind of hit the middle of the road here, which is like a non-answer, which is annoying. Well, I'll say this. Overall, if you know you want a Civic Si, and you want a true SI experience, I would say yes. A lot of people are gonna say the 8th gen was the last SI that was a true SI, and I see why. I think 9th gens with the K24 are also a good option, and it's just gonna depend on like what you can find and what area you're in, and obviously what price. The biggest difference is just that obviously the body's a little bit different on the 9th gen, and the K24 is going to give you more low-end torque. That's the biggest difference. A lot of the same issues that 8th gen suffer from, the 9th gen suffers from too. So it'll just be, kind of doing your research and finding out what you're willing to deal with. I wouldn't bother buying an 8th gen base model unless it was simply like a commuter car. Like the R18s, in my opinion, have more problems than is worth putting money into. So unless you can get like a really low mileage one, but even then, I've seen so many people talk about the lower mileage ones getting cracks in the block that I don't see the attraction when you could get a ton of other economy cars that are going to do the same thing for the same or less. So I wouldn't recommend the 8th gen platform as a base car. I would recommend the 8th gen SI as a fun daily. I daily this car, and most of my gripes and discomforts about the car I've done to myself. So would I do it again? Yes. Honestly, none of the items that I listed were really ever annoying enough or like a big enough deal that I thought it warranted like jumping platforms. So I mean, I'm also really picky. A lot of those things don't bother people, which is why people drive around with their bumpers falling off. So it's all depending on like what you're willing to deal with. If you're looking for a car that's gonna need some love, then yeah. I mean, but also again with the older Hondas, you're gonna need to do that to any older Honda too. So it's the same thing. It's just a newer car. For an enthusiast looking to get a naturally aspirated Honda experience, this is a great car. I think anyone who is anywhere in the realm of someone who really wants to experience that kind of Honda should absolutely get one because the K-Series performs excellently in this car. Now, would I say you should get it over like a K-swap car? Maybe not. I don't know. It's a pretty different experience, I think. I think for me personally, moving forward, I would really like to experience one of the L15 platform cars, but that won't be for a while, and it'll probably be once K-Series start getting harder to find, which it seems to be is creeping up on us faster than I'd like to see, but that's another story. So thanks for watching. I hope, if nothing else, this kind of gave you some insight into the platform, the car. It has the 8th gen community is great. Lots of people ask a lot of questions, and there's a lot of answers on the internet. So it's kind of, I guess, in that realm, it's nice that it's that middle ground that you get answers to a lot of questions, and there's been a lot of R&D done. But it's also not old enough that parts are hard to find, like the B series are starting to get like that. So if this video was helpful, I'd love to hear from you. And if you have any other questions, you can feel free to leave them below, and I will do my best to answer. I know videos have kind of slowed down. We had a little burst there, but I'm hoping to kind of get in a rhythm here and start making some consistent content. So we'll see how that goes, I guess. But if you made it this far, thanks for watching. And yeah, I'll see you.